You are now in tune with
Mamba Radio.
What up, everybody? Thank you for tuning into Brown Mamba Radio. For those who don't know, my name is Jackson, and happy Aloha Friday to all you guys out there. Happy Rusev Day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed your week this week. Felt like a little bit of a longer week than usual. I don't know if that was just me. Could be. I don't know. But yeah, it was a long week, excuse me, and a lot happened this week, especially in the world of sports. So, gonna get to everything that happened there, like I always do when I recap the week. A little bit of what else happened outside of sports, and then, like I said, a lot of new music came out this week too, mainly in the last couple days. So we're gonna get to it, but first, like I said, first and foremost, we're gonna get to the sports, starting with the playoffs. I kind of doubled up on, I did want a little extra episode this week on Wednesday, because like I said, the games have been so good. So I'm just gonna be recapping the games that happened last night on a Wednesday night. And they definitely did not disappoint, starting with on Wednesday night. In the East, the Celtics looked a lot more like the Celtics we've been used to seeing this postseason. They topped the Cavs back at home 96-83. Still wasn't a great game on offense by any means, but it was enough to get it done. And they like I said, they figured it out defensively. They kept the score down for the Cavs. They kept everything down for the Cavs. But like I said, their defense was good enough that they didn't have to essentially have as dynamic of an offensive game as they normally had. As a team, they only shot 36%, which is, not like completely terrible, but just not what we've seen from the Celtics, this postseason. But about average 33% from three. Like I said, that's about normal for them. And then like I said, as a team, they shot 36%. And like I said, it definitely shows. Horford 4 for 9, Baines 3 for 7, Rozier 3 for 15, Jaylen Brown 4 for 15, Marcus Morris 5 for 13. But like I said, I'm just nitpicking at this point. If they're gonna want to keep playing well and want to continue to do well, they're gonna have to pick that up a little bit. But like I said, they still got their points. 13 from Smart, 13 from Morris, 17 from Brown. Like I said, even though they weren't shooting that great, 15 from Horford. But of course, again, all of it was led by who'd have thought that out of all the guys in this team, that Jason Tatum, the rookie, the 19-year-old rookie, or 20, I think he just turned 20, but the youngest guy on the team would shine the way he did. 24 points, 7 of 15 shooting, knocked down 3 threes, making his free throws, getting it done on defense as well, and also just filled out the stat sheet: 7 boards, 4 assists, 4 steals, 4 huge steals, and 2 blocks. Like I said, just a huge night for Jason Tatum to, like I said, help right the ship for the Celtics. Like I said, they're just Jason Tatum, man, just so impressive this postseason. Like I said, helping them, right the ship, get back on track. We're getting closer to getting back on track the way we used to seeing them play, and it's either that or they just love being back at home. And the home team has won each game this series. We'll have to wait and see how things go tonight. If the Cavs, if the Cavs can, if it can figure it out, they got to figure it out again. Especially now that it looks like the Celtics have figured them out defensively. They, like I said, I mentioned the last one. Like I said, go back on Wednesday to hear how I thought about it. But it seems like they figured out the Cavs, and the stats back it up. It's hard for any team to win when they play all 15 guys on the team. They played all 15 guys got minutes. All 15 guys played for the Cavs, and it's hard for any team to win when all 15 guys play and only 2 of them score in double digits. And it's especially hard when it's this Cavaliers team who has, relied heavily on LeBron James, who, like I said, who had a good game himself. Not gonna lie, he had a good game himself. 26 points, 10 boards, 5 assists. 50% from the field. Only made 1 for 6 from 3. Whatever. It's not. Like I said, that's not his forte. But like I said, when LeBron James doesn't have a monster LeBron game like he normally or like he's had in the past, especially in this postseason, you need other guys to step up, and that just was not the case. And like I said, a lot of it goes to the Celtics defense and figuring out how to stop them on defense. Kevin Love, he got 14 points, but that's just not enough from Kevin Love. 14 points from Kevin Love, 1 point from Tristan Thompson, 7 from George Hill, 2 from J.R. Smith, 0 for 4 from 3, 2 from Nance. Where are the big guys? Korver only had 7 with 2 threes. Clarkson was 3 for 10, not good. As much as I love you, Jordan Clarkson, not good. 3 for 10, only 8 points. Gerald Green, big minutes, 26 minutes, but only put up 8 points. Like I said, it's or did I say Gerald Green? Jeff Green, excuse me. These guys that they needed these guys to come up big, and they didn't this time. And again, a lot of it has to do with them being on the road, and then how well the Celtics have played. I get that, but they gotta figure it out, man. They really have to if they want to, if they want to keep their hopes alive. They gotta figure it out. Like I said, we have to see tonight, and one more thing from the game. It's the big thing that everyone's been talking about from Game 5. It's the first time, I think that, if in my memory at least, the first time ever that we've seen LeBron actually look tired. Not like the way he looked, his last year in Miami, or his last, the last years in Miami, or his last, time, and the first time he was going around with the Cavs like that, just looked drained, but physically looked tired and emotionally drained, and it's weighing on him. You can tell, he can only put up a front for so long. He was all this stuff where he was, gripping the towel, doing the whole thing with, closing your eyes, leaning back, trying to catch your breath, the burying his face in his hands, all that kind of stuff. It's the first time we've actually seen it, and like I said, we all kind of knew it was there because, like I said, because you cannot blame him, because he's literally put this team on his back door and carried this team all season long, all postseason long, more than he ever has before. And this is his 15th, 16th season, and he's carrying the team the way he has been. It's unreal. And like I said, it was only a matter of time. And maybe he's bluffing. I don't know. Maybe he's bluffing. Maybe he's gonna save it for tonight and for Sunday night. I don't know. But excuse me. It is as much as, like I said, as much as we all knew he's it's got to be emotionally, physically, mentally draining on him to carry the team like this. Like I said, once you actually see it, it's kind of like, oh shit, maybe this is it. Maybe LeBron it just can't do it right now, or like I said, not anymore. But maybe he can't do it anymore this season. It's not, and it's not just this season. This would be his, if he makes the final, I think it'd be his 8th straight finals. You know what I mean? That's a lot of basketball for anyone to play, especially LeBron, who's getting into his mid-30s. You know what I mean? And he's been playing at the highest level of basketball for, not just the 8 years he's gone to the 8 straight years he's gone to the finals, but all his entire career. Because it's a lot. So it's going to be a huge Game 6 tonight. Huge Game 6. Like I said, and it's always the home teams have won every game this season, or excuse me, this series. So let's see. Hopefully the Cavs can figure it out and keep that streak alive. But if that's not the case, will this be LeBron's last game in Cleveland? That's, like I said, if that's the case, like I said, if they lose tonight at home, and in my opinion, if they lose tonight at home, and if things go south, in a hurry, and it's oh shit, it's pretty obvious they're gonna lose this game. If things go south in a hurry, for the Cavs, and and it's reminiscent, and and starts to feel like 2010 all over again when he left the Cavs the first time. You know, the famous quit game where he quit on the team and all that stuff, that bullshit. And then left the Cavs and took his talents, all that stuff. Like I said, if that happens, or if it feels like that again, don't be surprised if big changes happen. And what I can bet on is if that does happen and we get those 2010 vibes, that's all. That is all us blog boys are going to be talking about all summer. Is, you know, where's LeBron going to end up? Is he going to stay in Cleveland? Is he going to go to the Lakers? Is he going to go to the Sixers? Is he going to go to New York? Is he going to go here? Is he going to go there? But whatever. It's all we're going to talk about. And yeah, it's just like I said, it's just a big game 6 coming up, and you know, like I said, tonight, and then like I said, we have to see we got to see what the Cavs are made of. We're going to see what the Cavs are made of with their backs against the wall. And then moving on to the West, the Rockets survived again, pulling out a huge win on the road. Huge win on the road, 98-94. You know, they weren't playing as well as they've played again. You know, it was pretty similar to pretty similar blueprint to how Game 4 went for them. You know, they weren't playing typical Rockets basketball and offense. But you know, in the last one I mentioned, you know, I'm like, were they actually playing good defense, or were the Warriors just having an off night? And it's, you know, first time was an accident, second time it's a pattern. And the second time it happened, they played really good defense. Made the Rockets uncomfortable, or excuse me, made the Warriors uncomfortable. Kept the score down, and like I said, they just survived. They did what they had to do to survive. And it was just, you know, it was a really yucky first half from both teams, but mainly from the Rockets, especially from James Harden and Chris Paul. They should have been up by like 15 points. You know, I mean, if just based on the way that they were playing defense and the way that the Warriors were playing, you know, their top two guys just were not playing that well. I think, like I said, James Harden missed all his threes, and like he's missed like 13 straight going into back to the end of last game. You know, and but that second half was a completely different story for the Rockets. You know, Chris Paul completely took over in the third quarter. They figured out, you know, Chris Paul's been doing it his whole career, ever since he was with New Orleans. You know, where they take advantage of those. They're not technically pick and rolls, but they're pick and switches, essentially, is what I like to call it. When they switch Chris Paul onto the big, you know, he did it, like I said, time and time again in New Orleans. He did it time and time again with the Clippers, and he's continuing to do it. And they would just switch him on to, you know, to David West, who former teammates. You know Chris Paul knows David West game inside out, so he knows how to pick him apart. He'd pick apart David West, picking apart Kevin Looney, anyone that that he would put on him. You know, even with Steph Curry, when he, you know, he made that ugly ass shot. As the shot clock was winding down, then he hit the shimmy back in Steph's face. But yeah, just Chris Paul completely took over in the third quarter. And completely helped swing the momentum. But the Warriors kept fighting back. They did their thing. They hung in there tough too. Steph was getting to the rim a lot, and keeping it close. But then that's when, you know, as much as well as Chris Paul played in the third quarter, just Eric Gordon was huge down the stretch in the fourth quarter for them. You know, knocking down some big threes, making big free throws, especially those last ones at the very end to seal the deal. You know, and like I said, just Eric Gordon was huge, completely huge for them, and then Chris Paul and Eric Gordon needed to be, because like I said, James Harden was not on his A game, completely not on his A game. You know, Harden overall for the game, 5 for 21, 0 for 11 from 3-point land. That is not good for anybody. 9 for 9 from the free throw line, though. Of course, he got to the line. You know, he continued to get to the line. You know, but you know, like I said, it's just like I said, a dry spell for James Harden. Wasn't the best shooting night again for Chris Paul. But like I said, you know, who'd have thought, man? They asked, you know, Kristen Ledlow asked James Harden after the game. When they asked the player, whatever, at the excuse me, one player after the end of the game, the questions, whatever, they asked him, what when him and Chris Paul, the two top scorers on the team, excuse me, aren't shooting the way that they normally can, or the way that they aren't on their game, excuse me. What keeps them in the games, and who'd have thought of all things that James Harden was going to say their defense, and man, their defense is what kept them in the game, and their defense was great. Like I said, completely great down the stretch, especially in the second half, and especially when the Rockets went small. They just said fuck it. Like I said, D'Antoni, got to give him credit where credit's due. He's rolling with this 7-man lineup. Look at that. If you look at it at the box score, it's just 7 guys out there. Pretty much just 6 guys between Ariza, Tucker, Capella, Chris Paul, Harden, and Gordon. Like I said, Gerald Green gets a few minutes here and there, but man, dude, no matter what happens in this series, you got to give a ton of props to Trevor Ariza and PJ Tucker for just nutting up. They are just nutting up in this series right now and just gutting it out. They have to be averaging like 41 minutes, 42 minutes a game for the series. And like I said, they're the backbone for that defense, for that small ball defense lineup. When they go with Chris Paul, James Harden, Eric Gordon, PJ Tucker, and Trevor Ariza. And then PJ Tucker's the one playing the 5. He's the one that's down low banging, grabbing the rebounds, contesting the shots at the rim and stuff. So like I said, props to all of them. The only thing is it's tough for the Rockets, because if you don't know by now, I don't know where you've been, but Chris Paul got hurt in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter, and it looked like it was his hamstring, the same one that's been bugging him all year. And then it comes out this morning that he's officially been ruled out for Game 6 with that hamstring. Like I said, I don't think there's any details on what exactly it is or what's wrong with it. If it's just a pull or a strain, or if it's completely torn. Who knows? No one really knows yet. Excuse me, but he's not going to be there for Game 6, and that really sucks. You know what I mean? And I tweeted this out. As much as frustrating and annoying and draining as it is to watch Chris Paul play on TV, and I can only imagine how it is in real life down there on the court with him and against him. You cannot deny how good he is, and it's going to be like a little asterisk if he's out for the rest of the series, and the Warriors finish this thing out and they beat them, because they didn't have the Warriors couldn't beat them at their full strength. You want the Warriors to be at full strength, which to their defense they're not at full strength either, and it's been hurting them too. But it's like I said, it's tough with Chris Paul. It's a tough situation for Chris Paul. Tough situation for the Rockets. I really don't know who their backup point guard is. They're probably gonna have to go. James Harden's gonna step his minutes up. Eric Gordon's gonna play more. Gerald Green, he's gonna get more minutes, and they're just probably gonna tell him shoot some more threes. But like I said, we're gonna have to wait and see. But with the Warriors, in the Warriors case, man, it just looks, it's so, like I said, as you can tell, I'm a little at a loss for words, just because I don't know how to. It's just crazy to see them struggle like this, and they're struggling. They are struggling. Letting the Rockets of all teams. And listen, granted, the Rockets did play much better defense this year than they have all season long. I believe they were top 10 all year long, in team defense and defensive rating and all that bullshit. They were a much better defensive team that they've been in the past. Clint Capella's been good on defense. Trevor Ariza, PJ Tucker, again, like I said, those guys are just shutting it down and then just playing good team defense, like I mentioned. But the Warriors just look completely flustered. They look completely uncomfortable. And like I said, I know it. Like I said, they really miss Andre Iguodala. Him not being out there really throws a bone in their or throws a monkey wrench into their lineups. Like I said, they have to go to deeper guys on the bench earlier. Like I said, they have to play Sean Livingston more, who is, for all accounts, is a good player. But like I said, he's getting older and he hasn't been that great in this series. To be honest, he has not been that great. They got to play guys like Quinn Cook more. They got to play Jordan Bell more. They got to play David West more, and it just creates. And they got to play Kevin Looney more, and it just creates more mismatches for this dynamic offense of the Rockets, who can just so many guys can create baskets, and these guys are not as experienced as the core guys with the death lineup essentially for the Warriors. So like I said, we're seeing it. We're seeing it. They just look completely flustered. But Steph hasn't been shooting great. Clay had a great game. He played much better than he has. This game, despite the loss, he played much better. But like I said, Steph hasn't been shooting great. Draymond, man. Like I'll get to Draymond a little bit later, but Draymond's been all over the place. But the biggest, most glaring thing to me is what is wrong with KD, man. I do not know what's wrong with Kevin Durant. He started off in the first half. He was the bright spot in the first half, but it's just baffling to see his box scores. He was he was 8 for 22 last night. Not great. I gotta get the rest of. I don't have the rest in front of me. He was 8 for 22 last night. I know he shot poorly in Game 4. You know what I mean? And it hasn't been the typical KD that we've all known and that we all know about. You know what I mean? He's the walking bucket. But I don't know what's wrong with KD, I'm officially in what is wrong with KD territory right now. He's very passive when he has it. It's just like, just KD needs to do KD, man. They just need KD to do KD, and like maybe he can get it. Maybe they need to be back home, and he needs to get it going. I don't know. I really don't know, but like I said, I don't know what's going on with KD. But like I said, that's the biggest glaring thing. Also, the other biggest glaring thing is, the lack of composure and just the blunders and mental mistakes that continue to happen in the last minute of these important games, these two important games. Wednesday night they had, Tuesday night they had that just meltdown in the fourth quarter. They had that meltdown in the last minute on the last possession. And same thing happened again in this one. They had a perfect opportunity. Nothing, like I said, I'm not glorifying that Chris Paul got injured or anything on that play, but they had a perfect opportunity to take advantage. They were down by 1, and they had a power play because Chris Paul didn't get back on defense, and they left Quinn Cook wide open, and he needed to make that basket. He needed to make a basket. They needed to make a basket to take the lead and switch the momentum. But Quinn Cook missed a wide open 3, and that boy, he was wide open. He caught that pass. He fumbled it, and he was all off rim. And as soon as that ball was going towards him, you knew he wasn't going to make it because he got huge. He could not breathe. His eyes got huge, and the moment got to him. But he missed that wide open 3 when they needed a bucket. They went back on defense. They got a stop. Needed another bucket, and they ran. I don't know, they just that play is that really, and again I tweet this again, but is that really the best play they can draw up? Having Steph Curry take it to the rim, if any, like I said, and I get it, he was the hot hand in the fourth quarter, but I mean, come on, when they're running that small lineup and PJ Tucker is the guy protecting the paint, you got to get the ball to KD or someone taller to at least get up there in the trees, or Draymond or someone. You got to get it over there, and you got to get it to one of those guys. And then that was the play, that was, like I said, that cannot be the best play that they could have drawn up on that play. And it was early in the shot clock. I think it was only 14 seconds left in the shot clock when he did it. And I get it, if you see an opportunity, take it. But still, there has to be a better play than that. And then on top of that, Draymond, he could have grabbed the rebound, but he tried to tip it out to get a pass. But I mean, like I said, it's just all kinds of stuff going on like that. And continuing with Draymond, that turnover on the last play, horrible. He rule number 1 when you're catching, and it goes all the way on to Little League, is don't take your eye off the ball. He did in that case, and he fumbled it, lost it, the turnover, and just, like I said, they just don't have any composure. And like I said, Draymond is we all know, like I said, it goes back to the old saying, sometimes your biggest strengths are also your greatest weaknesses, and we all love the intensity that Draymond plays with for all 48 minutes, but sometimes, man, that boy can get too turned, and that's what happened here. He was just too turned up, like I said, trying to do too much, think too fast, and just going too fast. It took his eye off the ball, fumbled it, on the last possession. Again, tried to tip it out when he could have just grabbed the rebound, and like I said, all that stuff, and like I said, just crazy stuff, and I don't know, and I know it's early, Game 6 is going to be insane. Game 6 in Oracle, with all the chips on the line, or all the stuff that's all the stakes that involved with this game. It's going to be insane. And like I said, I know it's a little early here, but it's just a question that I was watching on the Ringer NBA show that a fan asked. I don't remember who it was, but the fan asked it, and I'm going to leave it for you guys to determine. If the Warriors lose in Game 6, or if they lose in Game 7, if they lose this series, who is to blame? And what do they do next? That is a huge question that has so many answers. I'm not going to get to it right now. Like I said, if it happens, I'll get to it. But I just want to throw that out there for you guys. If the Warriors lose, who is to blame, and what do they do next? And like I said, I went on a little bit too long for the basketball talk, but like I said, it's just this series. Both these series are so great. I can't stress that enough. They're so great. So I'm gonna try to fly through everything else here. Like I said, I got a lot to do today, and I got a lot to get to. Starting with baseball quickly. Dodgers, playing much better. I know it was just only one series, but they won the series against the Rockies. Arguably they could have or should have won all three. They should have had a clean sweep. It was a tough loss in the first game. But like I said, taking the series 2-1 is still good. They're going to begin another series tonight against the Padres. I believe the Padres are still last in the West. So like I said, hopefully they can take advantage of that, use the momentum that they've built up this week and carry it into the weekend, and get at least a series win. You know what I mean? Like I said, they're maybe, I'm not asking for a sweep. Sweep might be asking too much, but just at least a series win is good. Like I said, especially against a division rival. That'll help us move up the ranks in the division. Then on with the Angels, they also won their series 2-1, but this time against the Blue Jays. And the road trip continues. It's going to be tough. Going to Yankee Stadium. Yankees are red hot right now. It's going to be a fun series. Should be a fun series. But it would have been more fun if Ohtani was still pitching. He was supposed to get the start on Sunday, but it looks like he's not going to. That's not going to happen anymore. The Angels are scratching him from his start, which would have been against Tanaka also. That would have been huge. Two of the biggest Japanese prospects of this past decade, squaring off against each other. And like I said, that would have been great on so many levels. But they scratched him because they want to avoid overworking him so early in the season. And listen, I understand that. I get it. I think they said he's pitched, He's above his pitch count. He's above his innings count where they want him at so far, and plus he's hitting. You know what I mean? He's out there, hitting, DHing and stuff. Like I said, I think they're giving him a rest this weekend or something. Like I said, I completely understand it, but it still sucks. You know what I mean? It still sucks. Like I said, that's the matchup we wanted to see. We're not going to see. We're going to see it eventually. Just I guess just not right now. So that sucks. But hey, it is what it is, and like I said, they'll have to do it without him. Now from baseball on to wrestling quickly, WWE, most of the big wrestling news happened outside of the ring, with the new TV deal, which I talked about on Monday. So if you want to know about it, go back and listen to it, Monday's episode. But quickly with Raw and SmackDown, Raw, it was a whatever show. I don't even want to get to, there's enough stuff out there about the stupid Sami Zayn, Bobby Lashley sisters segment, which is easily the worst segment in a long time. It easily beats out the Bayley's This Is Your Life thing. It beats out a lot of stuff that's been bad. That was really, really bad. I haven't seen this out there yet, but maybe it's a punishment against Sami Zayn for being outspoken about the whole Saudi Arabia stuff. I don't know. It could be. I'm just conspiracy theory here with that. I haven't seen anything about it, but maybe, I don't know, because that's the only logical thing I can think of, because how stupid and how bad of a segment that was. Didn't really move the needle on anything else with Money in the Bank. All the stuff like that on the Raw side of things. But Stephanie McMahon is back, and back to her old way, stealing the spotlight as usual. She came out and announced there was going to be a contract signing between Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax, so everyone got excited for that. But of course, in typical Stephanie McMahon fashion, she made it all about her, talked too much, all that stuff, and it would just kind of stole the spotlight from the actual contract signing itself. So, we'll have to, whatever. That was Raw, SmackDown. Again, it was okay. It was an okay show. There's two new entrants in the Money in the Bank match on the women's side. We saw Lana and Naomi win spots there. For the men's side, we don't know which of the New Day members will be in Money in the Bank. They still got to figure that out. So, there's that to look forward to. The Styles Nakamura match. Shinsuke Nakamura won last week to pick the stipulations for their championship match at Money in the Bank, and he chose a last man standing match. So hopefully that's good. So we're not going to get any 10 counts from double blows again. But other than that, not much happened. We got a good match from Daniel Bryan and Jeff Hardy, but hey, who saw that coming? A big shocker. But like I said, it's kind of just a whatever week. Like I said, we still got time for Money in the Bank. It's in a couple weeks away, so it was just kind of just one of those weeks where just kind of they had to do a show, so they did it. Some football news, some NFL news on the field. OTAs began this week. So like I said, football is officially back in this case with the OTAs. They're the optional OTAs, the ones where they do the workouts and all that stuff. But couple big holdouts, and they mainly affect some of our local teams. And yes, I'm considering the Raiders a local team. Aaron Donald holding out for the Rams, and Khalil Mack holding out for the Raiders. They both want new deals. They deserve new deals. So please, Rams and Raiders, for your sake, pay those men. Get them the money they deserve. Especially these two guys who can anchor your defenses for years to come. Just pay them. Pay them the money that they deserve. Pay the money that they're due. That's, like I said, it's not that hard. So a couple big holdouts there, and then a couple big injuries, but the one that's got the most attention, affecting one of our local teams here. Still weird to say it, a local team, the Chargers. Their heir apparent replacement for Antonio Gates, tight end Hunter Henry, is done for the season with an ACL injury. Apparently it was a non-contact injury. He was running down the field and then just went down. And like I said, anytime that happens, it's never good news. So like I said, tough news for Hunter Henry. Tough news for the Chargers. And like I said, praying for a speedy recovery on that one. For him, it's tough. It's tough, and that happens. But so that's it from the stuff that happened during the week. Now we're getting to the news and transitioning, staying in football. This time off the field. The news that everyone's been talking about for obvious reasons. The new rule that the NFL implemented, mandating the players stand for the national anthem or else they will be fined. First of all, it's fucking bullshit that this happened. It is such bullshit on so many levels. It's extremely coded racism. That's obvious, very, very obvious. It's the owners favoring commerce over freedoms, and that which is in a nutshell kind of how it's been in America's been, for the last couple of years with this presidency, and not to, and it's been like that for a while. We all know that, but it's been extra heightened and made aware with this presidency, and like I said, it's just there is an extreme backlash from this for right reasons. over this ruling from current players, former players, politicians, activists, celebrities, all that stuff. It's extreme backlash. And like I said, and it's much deserved too. It's just completely bullshit. And for all of you out there who are trying to compare this to the NBA rule, because the NBA has a rule where the players have to stand for the national anthem, and it's in their contract with their players association, which is two completely different situations. Two completely different situations. Because there was nothing that provoked it. Nothing provoked the rule change. It was just kind of, they were coming up with the agreements, and then someone along the line said, hey, when they do the national anthem, we'll stand for the national anthem. They're like, okay, sure, whatever, not a big deal. This one is they're creating this rule in direct response to what Colin Kaepernick did, to what Colin Kaepernick started. And that is where the situation is completely different. And it is complete fucking bullshit, that they're making this rule against. First of all, they're not even for some fucking reason. It is the meaning behind why he's doing this is completely misstrued or construed. For obviously because the president made it all about him. For one, made it all about it's not protesting the military. It is not protesting our veteran. It is not any of that stuff. And all that stuff. Colin Kaepernick is doing this to protest police brutality towards African American and people of color, men and women, and unjust police killings. That's what it's about. And for all of you fucking dumbasses out there who don't know how to read a fucking article or don't know how to fucking read or do any research or anything, Colin Kaepernick is doing this because he asked veterans and he asked military members what is the most peaceful way to protest this, and they mentioned, and they the ones that suggested to him, take a knee during the national anthem, or do not stand for the national anthem. They're the ones who mentioned that, and they gave him the A-OK to do this. So, like I said, go read a fucking book, go read a fucking article, do your research before you start talking a bunch of stupid ass shit. As you can tell, this really is pissing me off, and because it is such bullshit. We stand with Cap. We stand with everyone who is kneeling with Cap. Eric Reed, Malcolm Jenkins, and all those other players. I can't think of off the top of my head, but all the other players who are doing it. We stand with you guys. We kneel with you guys. And they're gonna hear from this. This is gonna cause a lot of backlash. And if they think that the ratings are gonna go down, or the ratings were down before, and it wasn't even down because of the protesting, it was down because the product sucks, which it has been sucking for the last couple of years. Just wait until this big news and this story develops more about how they legitimately were blackballing Colin Kaepernick, conspiring to keep him out of the league. That the owners were conspiring to keep him out of the league. Wait till this story develops and gets bigger and bigger, because it's gonna happen. All the news is, and all the evidence is against them there now. It just needs to come out, where that they were singling out Colin Kaepernick and only making it about him, and as opposed to anyone else when they're digging these surveys. And that story that came out by ESPN, like I said, look it up. It's a great story, but we're just waiting for more details for it. And I want to get more details on it before I start talking about it more too. But if they think if they think the ratings are going to go down, or the ratings were down now, well, just wait. And as someone like myself who is, who loves football as much as I do, you bet your ass I will stop watching football. I will stop. As much as I love my Raiders, and as much as I love the sport of football itself, I will stop watching football, And it's sad that it has to take, hurting these owners where it hits the most in their pockets. It's sad that that's what it has to come to, but if that's what it has to take, then then so be it. I'm not afraid to watch football on Sundays anymore, and a lot of people are gonna feel the same way. And like I said, it's sad that that's what it has to come to, but we got to do what we got to do. You know what I mean? And like I said, we stand with Cap on this one. This rule is fucking bullshit. And I hope, and if since it seems like no one else is listening to anyone else on this situation, I hope people listen to Steve Kerr, because Steve Kerr, who has been, Steve Kerr and Greg Popovich and a lot of great guys from the NBA who have been very outspoken about these issues, not afraid to voice their opinions about it and stuff, have been great, bridges for this issue for a lot of people. And, he summed it up perfectly. He articulated it perfectly. The video's out there. I don't want to have to play it or say word for word, but he perfectly articulated and explained what I was getting to, or trying to get to, in a much more eloquent and better way, because Steve Kerr is the fucking man. And like I said, if they won't listen to anyone else, please at least listen to Steve Kerr. And like I said, it's fucking bullshit. And like I said, I'm done talking about this for now. Hopefully, like I said, shit gets done. And like I said, the backlash has just begun with this, because it's gonna happen. And the NFL is gonna feel it. They're gonna feel it, all right. So like I said, I'm done with this. Quickly onto the basketball news, because again, like I keep saying it, basketball just doesn't stop. A whole lot of basketball stuff going on. First with the Clippers re-signed Doc Rivers. I know as soon as you say that, as soon as I said that, and if this is news to you, I know how you feel. Trust me, I felt the same way. But just hear me out. So there's no details on the deal on it so far. No one knows how long he's going to be around for. No one knows how much he's going to make or anything like that. But the jokes were all flying in. Oh well, here comes a max deal for Austin Rivers. All this shit like that. I get it, and everyone has been up in arms about this, and rightfully so to an extent. And that's the caveat I'll have with this. Kind of is the word I'm using a lot, and rightfully so, because Doc Rivers has as much as he's contributed to the Clippers' success in the last 5 years or so. They have one of the best records overall since he's been the coach of the Clippers. As much as he's contributed to their success, he's also contributed to their failures as well, specifically in the postseason. They always finish. When they had Chris Paul and Blake and DJ playing well, and JJ Redick and all those guys, whatever. When they were all there, they would finish 50 wins, 60 wins sometimes, top seeds in the West, but they would always lose in the first or second round. So that would always happen. There was always people complaining he's overrated as a head coach. But mainly the biggest gripe that people had was his inability to both be the coach and the GM. And even though technically he wasn't the GM, he had much more responsibility with this role as president of basketball operations. And that's a much more responsibility with that role. But like I said, but whatever. It's all technicalities on this one, because some teams don't have GMs. They only have to, anyway. So he had a lot of authority on making personnel decisions as far as who's on the team and all that stuff. And those teams were all, those decisions were all usually really bad ones. He brought in, if it wasn't someone that he coached before, it was someone that he coached against. With like Big Baby, Byron Mullins, Nate Robinson, Wesley Johnson, all these guys that he just had come in and stuff. And like I said, if they didn't play for him, then he coached against him and was like, I remember that guy was good 7 years ago. Let me bring him in. So, but like I said, I say kinda with this because first thing, now he's no longer president of basketball operations. But again, some could argue he kinda still is. And that's because, the man who is now the president of basketball operations is not only the former vice president who was working directly under him for the last 4 years, and is not only one of his former assistant coaches who coached under him while he was in Boston for a couple years, but he's also one of his close friends, Lawrence Frank. Now, Lawrence Frank's pretty good. I'm not going to lie. He's pretty good. You might remember him as a coach. He coached the Nets. He coached the Pistons. Then he went and did, some front office stuff for the Pistons, or excuse me, for the Nets and stuff. So, like I said, he's good. But now he's president of basketball operations. He's the head honcho. So he's completely separated from the front office duties, air quotes, or so they say, So, technically he's just the head coach now. But like I said, he's still going to be working closely with Lawrence Frank, to make this in decision making and stuff. So like I said, it seems more like a PR kind of move where it's like just take the title off him. People say, well, he's not coaching anymore. But he's still essentially they're all working together. So, even though it's on paper, he's not the coach GM anymore. He still kind of is anyway. That's why I say kind of. But so bringing it all back, the biggest thing though, and I keep saying kinda because like I always say, and a lot of people say, the number one rule when changing head coaches is if you're gonna make a change, you better make sure that the person you're bringing in is better than the person that you're letting go. And, as much as people want Doc Rivers to go, trust me, myself included, there's just not a whole lot of other options out there. Who are they going to bring in? Steve Clifford, what has he done? Not that much. He had a bad team in Charlotte, so we have no frame of reference. Dwayne Casey, it's essentially the same. He's pretty much just the Eastern Conference version of Doc Rivers. Did great regular season success, seen a lot of stuff, but just never made it far in the final or in the postseason. Same core guys, all whatever. So that'd just be a lateral move, and then plus they'd be inheriting essentially a rebuilding team. And to Doc's credit, also he did a pretty decent job coaching the team that he did, considering the guys that are on his team. Like I said, it's frustrating. That's for sure. It's frustrating for sure. But like I said, it's what else do we got? So we got to stick with it. Who knows what's going to happen? We got to trust the process here. The process has now officially begun in LA with the Clippers. But like I said, it Doc's the coach, so we got to deal with it, and there's nothing that we can do about it. So yeah, moving on from that. Some big announcements for the All-NBA teams. We had the All-NBA teams announced and the All-Defensive teams announced. All-NBA teams, no problem with them. The voters pretty much got it right. And to the defense, some people are a little ticky-tack with who should have been on first and second and whatever. But, like, for the most part, they got all the right guys. And to the voters' defense, it was a pretty tough year to vote. I cannot lie. There was a lot of great players. Arguably there could have been like 7 or 8 guys that are on a first team if that was the case. But like I said, they can only pick 5. So the first team was Anthony Davis, LeBron, KD, James Harden, and a surprise, but not really a surprise pick, Dame Lillard, who did very, very well all season long. And like I said, much big ups to Dame Dollar. Like I said, I think he deserved it. And then the second team, Russie Westbrook, DeMar DeRozan, Giannis, LaMarcus Aldridge, sure, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Joel Embiid. Then third team, Steph, Victor Oladipo, Paul George, Jimmy Butler, and Karl Anthony Towns. The only one that I have a gripe with on this one is Aldridge. Like I said, I'm sure he was pretty good. It was just the name that stands. He's the name that stands out the most to me. It was kind of like, Aldridge, did he really play that well? I thought Cat played better than Aldridge. I thought Cat could have been on second team and stuff. But like I said, anyway, it doesn't really matter. Some people think that maybe Ben Simmons should have been on the third team over Steph because Steph, only played like 50 games. And like I said, and it wasn't like, and he was playing pretty good, but not like, oh shit, MVP season Steph. And that's when it's like, you have to go with him. So like I said, other than that, like I said, it's just nitpicky at this point. Oladipo, I think Oladipo could have been second team over DeMar. Maybe it's close. Like I said, for the most part, all the guys that are within the teams are correct, I believe. And like I said, not much complaint from me on that end, but can't really say the same for the defensive teams. And Twitter and Reddit had fun with this one. So first team all defense, Rudy Gobert, deserved. Anthony Davis, deserved. Victor Oladipo, deserved. Drew Holiday, sure, maybe. He proved it in the playoffs, that's for sure. He proved it in the playoffs. But it was kind of like, oh, it's surprising, but you know what? Okay. The final spot went to Robert Covington of the Sixers. Now, I know a lot of you are just probably laughing your ass off right now, or you laughed your ass off when you saw that the first time thinking, what the hell? And listen, all the fucking stat dorks are gonna try to come at you, fixing their glasses. So, oh, well, if you look at his stats and his numbers, he actually and all this stuff, and he's top 10 in like defensive rating. Sure, he like is tied for whatever, like third or something for steals, and stuff like that, and whatever. But I don't know, man. At the end, listen, I like analytics, I like stats. Trust me, and they serve a purpose. I understand they serve a purpose. I'm not completely against all those numbers and all the analytics and all that stuff. But at the same time, the eye test tells you that Robert Covington is not that great of a player. And especially over a guy like Paul George, who is not even on the first or second team. So, it's crazy. It's just, yeah, anyway, so that's the first team. Like I said, Covington, I don't think he needs to be there. That's the first team. Second team, Joel Embiid deserved. Draymond Green deserved. Al Horford deserved. Jimmy Butler deserved. But then DeJounte Murray, again, another guy similar to Robert Covington. Sure, he checks a lot of boxes as far as analytics and advanced stats and all that bullshit goes. But I mean, was he making any? Was he? People. Everyone's like Covington and DeJounte Murray. Like what the? Like I guess sure. When a guy like Paul George, who was the defensive anchor of had a much bigger impact on his team, didn't even make it. So, like I said, Twitter and Reddit had fun with this one, and so, like I said, you can too. Go at it, have at it. If you need a good laugh, just go ahead and look at that again. Especially the way that Covington played on defense when he was getting roasted by Jason Tatum and Terry Rozier and Jaylen Brown all postseason long. So, like I said, sure, enjoy it, Covington. But yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna wrap it up with the music. Like I said, a lot of music came out today. New Music Friday. Just in time for the weekend. A$AP Rocky dropped Testing, and that shit is fire. Pusha T dropped Daytona, which is fucking fire. I got that shit on repeat all day today. Trust me. Excuse me. Like I said, it's fire. We also got new music from Panic at the Disco. Crazy for all my rockers out there. Panic at the Disco has new music. Churches got new music. Rufus Du Sol has new music. Juice WRLD put out his new project yesterday. Huge stuff. A whole lot of stuff coming out. And then we got a lot of big singles that dropped this time for the weekend. Big Bank by YG. Featuring 2 Chainz, Big Sean, Nicki Minaj. Big song. And we got another one. Belly and The Weeknd got a new song. What You Want. My boo, Georgia Smith, she got a new song out, just in time for her, her new album's coming out pretty soon, February 3rd. February 3rd is the title of the song, not the date. February 3rd is the title of the song that came out off her new EP coming out, Lost and Found. We got new Denzel Curry. Song's called Perks. That shit is fire. Denzel Curry is always fire. James Blake has new music. James Blake's got a new single out. And also, I gotta give it up to my man John, JAWN, John Mayer. He put out the video for his hit song New Light. like I said, just a whole lot of new music for you guys to enjoy. And like I said, and it's not just the big names like I mentioned. There's a lot of good stuff out there this weekend. So like I said, enjoy it, listen to it. It's good, especially that Pusha T, man. That Pusha T is on fucking repeat, man. Kanye fucking snapped on this shit. Kanye, for those who don't know, produced the entire album or the entire thing for Pusha T. And like I said, and I think part of why people love this Pusha T album and they love so they love how good it is already, or love how good the Pusha T one is, because they know that he did the same thing for Kid Cudi, and now everyone is excited for Kid Cudi's tape that's coming out soon. That's completely produced by Kanye as well. So, like I said, that shit is fire. I can't wait. And I gotta get out of here. So, thank you guys for listening. Like always, if you like what you heard, make sure you guys subscribe, comment, share, like, all that bullshit. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts: SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube. I'm on YouTube too, so subscribe there. Mainly SoundCloud though. Please, I need to get my cloud score back up since I lost my all my followers on my old account. If you got anything to say to me, you want to yell at me about my stuff, you want to say what's up, you want to, holler at me, you want to slide in the DMs, ladies, or anything like that, follow along on all the socials, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, all that stuff. Brown Mamba Radio, Brown Mamba, or my personal stuff, JXCKSXNNN. Yes, that's 3 N's. And everything, like always, is on the blog. Shout out to all the blog boys. Everything's on the blog, brownmamba.us. So yeah, everyone, again, thanks for listening. Hopefully you guys, listen to this when you're driving out to wherever you're going to enjoy the weekend. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend, everybody. Please be safe and responsible. It's like I said, it's gonna be fun, but like I said, most importantly, be safe, be responsible. You know what I mean? We got an extra day to have fun. Sunday Fun Day is gonna get a little bit more fun. So like I said, whatever you do on this Memorial Day, whether you're going camping, you're going on a vacation somewhere, if you're going to lighting in a bottle or bottle rock, like I said, that kind of stuff. I wish I was going this weekend. I'm not going. I myself am going camping. So if you're going to be up in the Santa Barbara area, I'll see you there. But I want people going to lightning in a bottle rock. Same thing goes for you, especially. Have fun, but please be safe and responsible. And to everybody out there, whatever you're doing, again, enjoy it. Have fun this Memorial Day weekend. And remember why. Also, just take a moment to remember why we have this holiday. And in memoriam of those who sacrificed and lost their lives and gave up their lives so that we can enjoy these freedoms of, me being able to talk freely into this microphone and give my opinions about stuff, whether they're qualified or not. But I have those freedoms. I have that ability to, because of, people who laid it all on the line, people who are much braver than I am, to be able to enjoy doing what I do and doing this for fun. This is just for fun, like I always say. So again, thank you to all those out there who pay the ultimate price so that, idiots like me and dummies like me can have these freedoms. And like I said, and I hopefully you guys all do the same and take some time out to remember them. So yeah, enjoy the weekend. Hopefully you enjoyed what you listened to today. And like always, drink more water, health as well. Please be kind to each other. It's easy to be nice. Have fun this weekend. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.